I'm trying to keep regimens much more than last year, which I'm proud of. But uh, I had this quote that I actually said to my friend like a couple months back, and it comes in and out, but it actually makes a lot of sense. And it's like, all my problems aren't my own. So, you know, I think in a space of being like a young black man, a young black person in general, you feel like you want to like carry the weight of like the people around you that you love, because, you feel like if when you had those moments where someone carried it for you, it's just a part of the tradition. So some days it feels lighter, some days it's heavier, but I guess the long-winded answer is like, the solace in it is just by being present. So that kind of offsets the clouds when they come. But, I'm going to say the thing that nobody likes to say: I'm maintaining. I feel like the word good deserves so much more, like, when you use that, you have to be honest. Like, and I think I believe maintaining is a real thing to say. People don't like to hear it because it sounds like, you're being like, oh, you're not appreciating what you have. I'm like, I don't believe that's it. What I'm saying is I'm maintaining all of these things at once. When I'm good for me is like, I don't know, like, it's like that split second moment on a vacation, on a jet ski, and you like cutting up the waves for that moment. Like it's like a moment where I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm literally just having fun. That's when I would say I'm good. When I'm out of that moment, I'm maintaining. Me and my sister, we sent my dad and my mom to Jamaica a couple of years before he passed. They went on a vacation to get like a really nice resort villa kind of thing. And there was a photo of my dad like floating in the ocean. And my mom said he used to swim like a fish. Like when she met him, he would go far out, go deep down, all type of stuff. And to see him older and he was just chilling like that to me is like the moments of like, I'm good, that I'm chasing for myself. Like in a selfishness, I want more of those kind of times where I'm like, I'm really present and like feeling like a kid. When I get on a jet ski, that's the only thing I could do. Like, cause if I'm sitting on a beach and my phone is too close to me, I might have a text about work, or I might have a text about something that's taking me out of the moment. But when you on that boat, when you on a wave runner and you gotta like be locked in so that your glasses that you overpay for don't fly off and your phone can't be in your hand. Well, I've done it before. I've done the selfie thing, but that's stupid. But I'm just saying, when you're locked in, those moments for me are like, I feel like I'm a kid, bro. I feel like I think that's when I'm good, is when I feel like a kid and I'm having like this real moment where nothing else matters. I had a moment one day when I felt like it was like, it was bad. I just sat on my couch and literally my girl walked in, and it was just like a moment of like, it was just too many things happening. I just started tearing up, and she was like, she's never seen me like just like really disconnected that way, and just like, and then I had to like breathe it out. It wasn't even a panic attack. It was just like really just tears of like, can I handle all of this at once? And I honestly never felt that way before. Like, I've always had pressure in work and things like that, and juggling and chasing, but like in that moment I was just a little upset, and I knew what I was doing wrong, and I had to like balance it back out. So like these days I'm trying more, like, exercise has been like a godsend for me. That's been like a serious thing that like helped me. Like, I have a thing. I get up, no matter how much I sleep, I'm up, I'm at the gym. It starts my morning. I get a little walk on. I listen to like an audiobook, and it's helped. Like, physical fitness has actually helped with like the feelings of that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to find more of that. My favorite part about working in the stuff that I do is working at it with people that I actually care about. Like, that's the most fun part for me, because then it's like playing. Or, if there's an asshole on the set or somebody we don't like, we have that personal connection and we still gonna get across the line. And I love that. Like that makes me still feel like a kid. The meetings part, the presentation parts, the too many cooks part, I hate that. But in the process, when you get down to like execution or when finally it's done to look at it, I feel like a kid still. Like, you know, I have those moments still. Like I remember like a couple months ago, I saw somebody wearing a pair of like Puma Dreamers that I designed. And I was just on the street on the phone talking to a friend of mine, and then I looked and somebody had them yellow ass shits on, and I was just like, damn, that's crazy. And that was fun for me, you know. I got to like, that was just weird. Like I don't have a lot of those like in like the big ways, like, you know, somebody designed a fucking car or something. But like for me, when I see that, it's like it reminds me of like when I was the kid that wanted to do a comic, you know what I'm saying? And I got to do something. I've done things that have kind of rippled in places, and the kid calls back to me like, yo, you just wanted to draw. I never want to be someone that people only fuck with me based on the things that I've done in these spaces. Cause this shit, that don't mean nothing. There's 10 million people better than me in these spaces. There's people that are hungry, that are doing amazing things that I admire. And that stuff could come and go. Like as a kid, I looked at these industries and there was so many people that I saw in these spaces that were like giants, and they're not here anymore. And imagine you get to a place where when that passes, do you still have that? Do you still have those people? So I always tried to keep the balance of just doing me in the space of like, I keep the regular degular and I keep the business side, and I keep all of those things in like a orbit together so that I could like just be myself. I'll give you a story. When I moved on from one job at an ad agency to the like next level, there was a moment where I felt like this place was like the Starship Enterprise. I was like, damn, I'm really like finessing. Like, how did I get here? But then in the same breath, I have people that always like lifted me up by the things I've already done. So it's like, you know, it reminded me like this is just another plateau to like learn on and keep pushing forward. Like, I think the strength in tribe is what gave me that selflessness to love who I am. Cause I always had people around that fucked with me. I move in that openness of like, yo, we could kick it. You know what I'm saying? Like I've always been that. Cause I've met people that like, yeah, you know, maybe I'm not that important to them. So then they don't rock with me. And it's like, that's cool. Like, I'm not tripping on it. I'm not social climbing for anybody. Like, I really have a lot of people that care. And I think that's a big blessing. And I try to like extend that even to new people because I know how important that is to be filled by other people, because I need it. So somebody else must need it too. When I was a kid, I always remember like Thanksgiving or like a party or something like my dad would set up and he would sit at the table and he's almost like sitting back watching everybody to a degree enjoying the fruits of labor. And in this side of my life, I have those moments too. And it feels good to like make a way or provide a moment or bring some solace to people around you, whether they're near or far. It's more fulfilling than being selfish. I think being selfish, you're always looking over your shoulder for no reason. And when you give, you don't really have to. And it's very lonely to be selfish. I think my whole life I always had a problem with like, I always wanted like 50 people at my house. I used to live in my parents' house and would have all my homies over in the attic. We all playing video games. We all up there watching Half-Baked or some movie. And I just always wanted a whole court with my people, my tribe. And I feel like a selfish person can't really do that because you're always trying to keep all of it to yourself. And I always just wanted to do the opposite because it just feels better. I feel like you never know where it's going to come from. Like my dad always knew that I love hip hop. And he had a friend, like he had an acquaintance that he knew that, you know, had connections to people in the music industry. And I was really young. I was in high school at the time. And he just knew that all the money that he gave me, I spent it on hip hop, whether it's posters, CDs. I used to go to this store called Superpower in East Flatbush. It was an old record store. And I would buy like everything. Or I go to the Wiz on Tuesdays. Hip hop was where all my money went. Source magazines, Vibe magazines, Double XL when that came along, rap pages. And he just knew like something in me was connected to that. And he basically told his man that was like, you know, he was doing what he do. I can't even remember this guy's name anymore, but he was like in the street. And he was like, I guess that got mentioned to my dad before, like he knew people like in the industry. He knew like Russell Simmons and he knew somebody else in the industry. And basically my dad said, yo, you can get him something in that. That's all he know. That's all he know. In his Jamaican accent. I'm not going to do it on here, but that got me a street team internship. And back in the day, you know, you had the in-stores where you put up the music posters in front of like your HMV, your Coconuts, your Wiz. I would go there after school and give out samplers, and I would be on the West Side Highway clipping poster boards. Like really nothing you're supposed to be doing at 16, 17 legally. Like, you know, there's laws against that now, but this is like 98, 99. Shout out to Say Adams, because he is one of the biggest initial guides in my pivot. And he knew, like, he's like, what you gonna do after you graduate? I was like, I think I'm gonna stay around here. You know, I wanna be an A&R. I wanna figure out albums for people. And he was like, yo, you go to high school of art and design. Like, right? I'm like, yeah. And he used to have this poster on his wall, which he actually gave me this year. And it had all these Def Jam albums from like 89 to 99. And it was like all the covers he worked on with his creative direction company. And he was like, this is what I do here. Cause I used to go in his office and I would see different cover renditions and post different photographs of like how they want to do the albums. And I, you know, like then I was still in high school, so I didn't really understand it, but like it was interesting to me. And he was, fast forward to right when I graduated, he's like, yo, go to school for graphic design. You need to pursue that. And that little conversation kind of like started the snowball of me figuring out that part of it. Cause I already had the art initiative from like middle school to high school. And I was ready to abandon it, not knowing where music would take me. And, you know, I like music. I understand music to a degree, but I don't make music. And I think that actually gave me some proper rails to like already go with something I'm equipped with. And it just kept going. East Flatbush, that was your world. If you lived in Bed-Stuy, that was your world. If you lived in Brownsville, that was your world. If you lived in Queens, that was your world. The Bronx, so on and so forth. There was no intermingling like this. And she basically said like, yo, you could take an art test. She gave me some papers. I went home, told my mom, and my mom was like drawing. Like she didn't see it for me. And it's not because she didn't care about art. She would take me to museums all the time, but she felt like, yo, I want my kid to be probably a doctor or something. Like there is no real career that way. My grandaunt, shout out to her, she's a teacher, but she said, that's the only thing he loves. You better send him to go do that. And then my mom acquiesced to her, and I went and took tests for like a bunch of high schools, and that's how I got into art and design. And that's how I started taking a train to Manhattan by myself, really young. And that kind of just opened up a world for me that was like beyond where I grew up. I used to know kids that never went to the city when I was that age. When I was younger, they never went to Manhattan. Like that was like, nah, what you going there for? Be careful, you going to the city. You know what I'm saying? Like that used to blow my mind, but I was exposed to it so young that I knew like, you know, getting on a train, it was like, you know, another world for me. And I feel like I wish for every kid to get some kind of exposure to traveling, no matter how big or small, you know. It shows you that if you live in a neighborhood that's very dilapidated and doesn't have a lot of options, if you get to see that there's an option not that far away, it's gonna put something in you like, how do I get to that? In a space of like being a creative and wanting to, you know, create with other people, I have guilt all the time about like I wish I could like do a lot of what I'm doing with a lot of the people that I'm trying to do this with. And that some days I feel like not great about it, you know? I like breaking bread with my people, but I got so many that sometimes I feel like, damn, I ain't do it with this person yet. I ain't do it with that person yet. And I feel that shit inside. Like, I don't need to feel it from them too, because I'm already carrying that. You know what I mean? And it's rough because I've had, you know, real close conversations with friends sometimes about like having that feeling about like, you know, someone feeling slighted in the way of me like chasing this dream. And I miss like a moment. And it's like, but you should know me. You should really know that like me missing the moment is not me not loving you. I feel like I'm always within reach, but I'm on the move. I am chasing something that I can't really put into words, but you know, I'm still here. And I think a lot of times I feel like I've seen it. I've seen the insecurities or, you know, people feel like they're being left behind, not only in my experience, but just around. And I feel like if you want the best for somebody, you should understand what that mission is. You know, a lot of us ain't good, whatever good is for them, you know, and I feel like people feel a way about it. I try not to take it personal. And sometimes, you know, sometimes I'll really put myself in the mind state of like, you know, yo, you should know that my heart does not mean any malice towards you, that I'm chasing my dream. And it's not personal, that I'm trying to do something that makes a big change for myself that will also have a ripple effect around me. And I think a lot of times people feel like they're losing you. But in all honesty, I feel like you got to be real with yourself about what that conversation is, what that is happening, because you should also be on your journey trying to do the same thing, no matter in what avenue, no matter what skill set, like, or a spiritual journey. Like, you should be doing that. We all should be doing that. And you know what's going to happen? We bring that back to each other in different ways. You just got to look outside. I think if you get out of the ego of just thinking about being you, and you look around and you see what people are going through and you see what people have overcome, you got to put that in context with how one not special, or well, not special is not the word, how rare your experience is not. Like, people are overcoming things every day and struggling through things every day. People are all carrying weights for themselves and other people. That's just, I don't think that that's a rare story. I think that's everybody's story. I think everyone is doing that every day. I believe that's a part of like manhood and masculinity to a degree, to be like sometimes a cornerstone, because sometimes things are going to come and like you're going to have to weather that for someone else or for yourself. And I feel like it's not always to just throw your hands up and like lean into it. You know, you have your moments when you cry, but like you also are strong enough to deal with a lot of it, or else you wouldn't be here. I feel like if you couldn't, you wouldn't be here. You know, like I feel like I think we're all equipped in different ways to process and handle like the weights that we carry. And I just believe that. I'm trying to be more present. Like I keep these notes around my house. A mentor of mine gave me like 5 quotes about being present like a couple years ago. And it sticks with me because I keep it in places where I always go. So I see it in front of my bathroom mirror when I exit the house, a mirror in my bedroom. And it reminds me like, yo, it's happening right now. And I think because it's happening right now, it's like I'm gonna just deal with what's happening in this moment, because that's all you really can do. I mean, we still worry about the future and we dread about the past, but we got to be present, because that's when it's happening. So that gives me more, I guess, strength to deal with it all, I guess, trying to be more present every day. I told a friend the other day that I really admire his trajectory, and I seen the laser focus that he has his whole time that I've known him, and it's something beautiful to witness. I think he inspires me like every day because, you know, it's like he's hearing something else. There's something that he's tuned into in a way that's like I never seen that before, and I'm proud to witness that. That's one. I think there's so many people that came before me that did magic that made me even sit here doing what I'm doing. Like I got some giants that I love. I think creatively I'm inspired by, you know, things that just pass me all the time. Like I see things and I'll just save them that like, oh yeah, that's crazy. I need to step my shit up. I see that all the time. I got friends that have taken so many different paths and like cleared one, cleared another, cleared another. It's so many moments for me. And now I'm at a point where I'm wondering, like, do I want to make another big shift? And I'm talking to like some of my elders in the space that have made like pivots that I'm taken aback by. And I'm like, well, I'm starting to feel foggy about like what's next. I could still do this. I could do this for a while. I could do this, but like wonder if I want to do something else. I know I mentioned my dad a lot, but like I'm truly inspired by him because, to be as young as he was and deciding to like leave a country and then going somewhere else without any real like solid ground under your feet and like carving a place, a home, and a community, and then also making space for his children to actually do the same is like beyond anything I've ever done. Nothing I've touched can touch that to this day. And I think about it in age gaps when I think about my dad. I'm like, yeah, nah. That shit for me is still something I'm chasing. Fuck that I did any of the artwork I've done. That shit is, I was given the tools, they set the table for me to a degree. Like things were set for me that like it's like if you put like toys in front of a baby, they'll crawl or something. I feel like things were put in front of me and I crawled to them, or there was an example, or there was someone made a connection for me. So like things were set for me. I think about my parents. Nah, that shit was a void. That was another planet. America was another planet to someone that came from Jamaica. If you go back in time, take away the internet, you did not know what the fuck that place was. And they were like, yo, we going. I have yet to do that. I've probably done that in a metaphor through like school or like taking a risk at a job, leaving a job for another one. But to really like pick up everything that to go somewhere that you know nothing about, I've yet to really do that. And I think that is probably the bravest, most magical thing I've ever seen. I feel like I always say there's like a million people better than me and there's probably a million people I'm better than. I always feel like I'm in the middle. And I think that keeps me, it keeps me striving. And I think people need to understand that like you're never the best and you're never the worst. And that should be the thing that kind of drives you to keep pushing. I feel like that's what kept me like changing industries and changing mediums and like still trying to figure it out on the go. I feel like for all the kids that like want to do these things they see on the internet and, there's a lot more tools now, but like, yo, I started like, it's very unorthodox how I got to the things that I've got to. And it's only because I think I've always been in the middle of that. So I was never like feeling like I'm like there's still more to climb, but then there's also like, look at where you came from. And I think that's the best way to look at the journey. And I feel like a lot of people need to think about that with whatever they do. There's always somebody you better than, but there's always people you can strive to be better than at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're never really in last place. I don't believe that. Stop being so cool and stop thinking that everybody wants something from you. And yo, honestly, if everybody wants something from you, you got a lot to give to the world. And I don't mean that in a space of like money. I just feel like we don't have a lot of time here. And it pains me. Like the saddest thing for me is when I meet people who are clearly like, you know, you have something to contribute to another stranger that you met, and you're protecting yourself in a way that you miss the opportunity of like connecting with somebody in a real way. And I see it all the time. And I feel pity on people when I see people not willing to take that risk of like getting to know somebody else. Cause I try to get to know people. And sometimes, yo, you know what's funny? I know a lot of famous people in a way where it's like, sometimes I could tell like some of them are like really cool, like close people. And some of them are like very protective. Like they don't know what my angle is. They don't know how I'm coming at them. And even like, if they're not famous, like other people, like they're always wondering like, what's your angle? I don't want shit from nobody. And I feel like if everybody moved that way, there's things that we have to share, everybody could get it.